Hi, my name is Celine and welcome to my channel. I'm an author, I'm a breast cancer survivor and I'm a life coach. If you're new to my content, I set up this channel because having gone through a lot of challenging times in my life and overcome them and gone on to create a life that I now love, I really wish the same for everyone. And so I want to share the tools and everything that I've learned because I really believe our life experiences really lead us onto a path of our purpose, whatever that might be in our lives. So that's the reason I set up this channel. Today I want to share tip number 5 in my Living Your Best Life series, and the tip is trust. Now trusting yourself, trusting your creator, where you come from. To me, that has been absolutely life-changing ever since, I suppose, really since I had cancer, but definitely in the last few years and since I trained as a life coach, and just a lot has happened and I've evolved and grown. Trust has been key. Really is life-changing when you start to really tap into that true part of yourselves. It never leads you astray. So I want to say to you, just, really be the authority in your own life. Don't let anyone else tell you what is right for you, because they just can't know. Nobody can know what is right for you. Only you know yourself best. It is one of the greatest gifts. It is, I think, the greatest gift that we've been given. It's our birthright, that connection to our source, our creative source, whatever you want to call that, nature, universe, God, intelligence, it doesn't matter. We come something beautiful, so powerful that we can tap into, and it's an amazing gift in your life. So I would just say to you, that's, once you do that, you'll see that force or that power, the universe is always conspiring to get you on track in life, to help you discover your path, to help you get on track with it. If you go off track, which I did, to get back on track, it's really working with you, and you really start to see that when you start to trust. It does take that first step. We have to trust. We have free will in our lives. So, nothing's going to intervene and force things on us. We may get lots of nudges and signs, but we have to make that decision and that choice in our lives to trust. So yeah, really, really important one. How do you go about doing it? Well, the first thing from my experience is you have to be in your body. Your body is supremely intelligent and never lies. It is the wisest counsel and advisor you can have, because it's always showing you through physical sensations, through how you feel, what is true for you, what is right for you, and what isn't. Now, initially, it can be a little bit, sometimes, which I can still do, can confuse a feeling of something feeling very right. So when I say feel very right, it's all energy. So it feels very in flow, very natural, very easy. Doesn't mean there isn't work involved, but it's not a pushing and a forcing. You can put in, you can be working, but also that there's a momentum that's carrying you. That's the difference to me versus having to push and effort and things not working out. We're not trusting life there. We're sort of fighting with it. So that's a really, that's an important distinction. And I suppose another thing as well is, just because you're on track and you're trusting and you're really tuning into what's right for you, doesn't mean you still can't feel nerves or little, flutters in your stomach, because life is going to call you to stretch and grow. That's part of it. It's not just to stay in the same place. I would have been very much like that. I want to stay as I am. So I wasn't trusting life that it was going to take me somewhere better and somewhere greater, but it still involves growth and it still involves stretching. So with time, you can discern the difference between the stretching signs of growing and maybe a little bit of nervous or anticipation, and versus the feeling of something, oh my God, very off, this is not right for me. Maybe it's an opportunity of some sort, say it's a job or anything, you know, an offer of something, or maybe an invitation, or, you know, to join something, and you feel like, oh my God, sick in your stomach at the thought of it. I mean, you know that isn't right for you. Now, you may go into your mind, it might be saying, oh, but you should, you know, there are no shoulds anyways in life. But you know, practice helps you discern between what's maybe calling you to grow and stretch versus something that isn't right. And that's where when you start to tune in, you learn to trust that voice and to know that voice and to recognize it. So I just, this is a short video in this series. I just keep them short. So yeah, I just want to give you some tips on how you build that muscle and really get into trusting yourself. As I said, you have to be in your body, because this is how, you know, you have a physical body you're in on earth. So, you know, that's your means or your antenna or your way of tuning in and connecting with the non-physical, that creative source and force that created you. So yeah, if you need to be in your body, well, obviously, one very important thing, I think, particularly if you find it difficult, I would have spent a lot of time in my head beforehand. So to get into my body was to ground. And, you know, there's lots of ways to ground. You can look that up. But, you know, obviously in nice weather, unless you're brave now in the cold weather here in Ireland where it's winter, get out on your bare feet in the grass. It can be to kneel down even inside, you know, to get your feet firmly planted on the ground, to do a meditation, you know, where you imagine the roots going down into the center of the earth. So anything that brings you physically and your attention into your body rather than outside or up into your head. It's very important. Nature is a really good way to do that, even if you're not going to go out in your bare feet, because we are nature. You know, we're a creation. Like a tree is, a person, you know, we're all just consciousness and form. So out in a natural environment, you're sort of with, you know, you're natural, you're in your more natural state. So it's easier to tune in and to trust. Silence as well can be difficult. I wasn't always, I must say, great at living in silence. I found it hard because I didn't want to go there, and I didn't want to feel, because I didn't want to feel any pain or discomfort. But, you know, there's no way around it. If you really want to get in and access your powers, you have to go through that sort of pain barrier, I suppose. And, you know, it's so worth it. So silence, you know, if you find it hard in your day, what I started to do, I love to listen sometimes on my walks, depends on when I'm going. You know, if it's a nice sunny day and I want to listen to the birds and nature, I don't. But often I'll use it as a way to listen to programs and shows and interviews and topics that I'm really interested in and I want to catch up on. But what I started doing then at one stage was I said, okay, halfway on the walk, when you're turning around, you're going to turn that off and you're going to walk in silence on the way home, and just sort of try, and even if my mind might be racing still a bit, I was still sort of even just putting my, you know, the way you can do a walking meditation, I'd put my attention into my feet and my footsteps and just sort of feel physically, and what does it like to feel? What does it like to feel in my body? I had no idea for years. So that's a sort of a nice way to build it in, maybe to something already you're doing in your day. Another way is to find, if you're very busy and you're going all day, whether it's maybe early in the morning, if you get up early before other people or the house is alive, or maybe late in the evening is a better time for you. But if you can take even 5 or 10 minutes or whatever it is, when you know your attention isn't going to be called on, so you can relax into it. You know, if you're doing it and waiting for someone to knock at the door, it's going to be very difficult. But even to try and build that in, and even if it's with something else, you know, if you lie down and you want to do something like put a nice eye bag on your eyes, or I don't know, say if you wanted to soak your feet or something that you want to do that maybe, you know, allows you just maybe sit in silence. So that can help you as well to get more into the body, keep bringing the attention into the body. And once you start to feel the physical sensations and trust how you feel, then you can start to, there'll be lots of other things that will come in that you'll really get to trust. you know, the intuitive voice, the synchronicities that happen, the chance meetings, all those things, a book falling off a shelf. You start to trust those, but you really, what I felt anyways from my own experience, I had to get sort of practiced and build up the muscle of coming into my body and trusting that it was safe to come into my body. Another thing which can be very helpful at any time, but particularly if you're, you know, if there are things that are coming to you but you're a little bit slow to trust them, you know, to journal. Journal's a very safe way because you don't have to show it to anyone. You can burn it if you want, but it's a way to start seeing what's coming out, like what is it if you start. And really the key in journaling and is to sort of get beyond the sort of conscious mind. So, you know, you could write for a page, but you could still be in the sort of like things to do type of mental practice. You want to get beyond that. So you really want to get all of that out, and then just doesn't matter if it makes sense, if it's spelling, grammar, whatever, just dump it all out. And you'll find nearly if you stay with it, you'll get beyond that sort of conscious mind and you'll get into the truth, the truer part of yourself that I was talking about. So that can be really useful. Also at the beginning, if you're quite used to, I suppose, handing your power over and always looking to other for answers, you know, we're really in a time on the planet now where we're all being called to come back in and remember who we are. It is so, so important. We have been conditioned and grown up to always hand over our power and our, you know, amazing gifts. And we really have everything we need. So that's why I just feel it's always important, but even more important now that we learn to trust ourselves. Because, digressing a little bit here, but if you think about it, you know, the body is so supremely intelligent. It is your wisdom. It is your truth. You're going straight to the source. It's absolutely telling you. It may not tell you why. You know, you might have to go in and listen and work that out for yourselves, but it is telling you always the truth. When we go out to other people, I'm not saying other people don't tell you the truth, but when you give it away, let that be part of the puzzle. You know, you can ask advice and do research and all of that, but you must bring it back inside and trust then what's the right decision. But the danger is, particularly if you get into your own mind too much and thinking, you get into, you know, we've all these limitations and stories and history and experiences and programming that limit and, you know, are not necessarily giving us a very clear, objective picture. So, you know, it's just a caveat there. And the same with that talking to anyone. We all know, you know, if someone came to me for advice, I'd do my best to be objective, but likely I'm going to bring who I am to it, you know, so they have to take that into account. It may not be right for them. So it's just a caveat. Really, you know, this is about coming back into, you know, owning, you know, who we are. Anyway, so that point, just it's a big one for me. Just that's why I've gone off a little bit there. But yeah, coming back in and trusting, and a final way that can be helpful as well, if this is some sort of what you really want to do and want to get better at, is maybe to work with a professional. It may be something that can help you. I don't know, each of us have to decide that for ourselves and to decide who's the right person. So whether it's a coach, type of life coach, a mentor, someone you trust in your life, an expert in a particular area, a counsellor, you know, there's lots of different types of professionals. It might be someone you want to work with who works more intuitively with you. Could be going for a reading. Could be working with this amazing astrologers as well. Lots of different people. But that can help you get the ball rolling. But ultimately, again, the decision comes back and we have to trust ourselves to take all of that and make the right decision. So a little bit longer today than I intended on this video. But yeah, I'll leave you with that. My tip for you today is to trust yourself. And by that, I mean the truest part of you. The wisdom, your creative source, which speaks to you through your body. So thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already liked or subscribed to my channel and you do like the content, please do. And if you see on the links below, I've lots of different links to different content. One of them is to a free guide that I'm giving away. It's 6 signs you're getting a spiritual wake-up call. So I think that's a very good starting point for you or anyone if you're struggling a bit with life and facing some challenges. It's where I suppose I started on this whole journey. And usually we do have to go through difficult times where that's the nature of the beast, I suppose. As humans, we like to stay out of discomfort and keep things the same, and sometimes we have to be shaken a bit to change, and that's where those challenges, or I will call them wake-up calls, come into play. So I hope you enjoy reading that. So thank you for watching, and take care, and until the next time, bye.